Pterodactyl here. And the other day I read an interesting article that the state of Wisconsin passed legislation that they're not going to ban gas-powered equipment. So what that means is they're going to give you an option. You're still going to be able to buy gas-powered or battery-powered. Not like in the state of California, where next year in 2024, all new outdoor power equipment is going to have to be sold in that state is going to have to be battery powered. So what that means is you got an older mower and you need to replace it. When you go to the store to buy a new mower, your only option is going to be a battery powered one, or a weed eater, or a leaf blower, or a chainsaw. It's all going to have to be battery powered. If it's 25 horsepower or less. Now, as far as existing gas-powered equipment in there, I don't know how they're going to handle that. I don't know how they're going to deal with outlawing that, or if they're going to put penalties or fines. I read a bunch of articles online because I was curious to see how they were going to handle that, and I couldn't find a clear-cut answer as to that. So that's something that's probably going to play out in the future here. We're going to be interesting to see how the state of California deals with that. But going back to Wisconsin, okay, now they're giving you a choice. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that choice is going to be clear-cut too. Because say you live in a gated community that has like a homeowners association. I was thinking about this. And say that homeowners association decides, okay, we don't want gas-powered equipment in our community here, in our gated community. We want to outlaw it. So then they may say anybody that's using gas-powered equipment is going to get a ticket or a fine. And they can do that because they make the rules. Even though you may say, well, the state of Wisconsin says that I have the right to own a gas-powered thing. Yeah, well, you do, but not here. You get out. You and your lawnmower and your gas-powered weed eater, get out of our community. That's how that works. That's interesting to see how that's going to play out. Now, right now, currently, it's state by state are making these rules. Now, if for some reason in the future, the federal government decides to pass a ban on this stuff, well, then that's going to override all the states that have all their different rules in there. So, we're entering some uncharted territory here. Gas over electric. And from what I see, it's not going away. Even though a lot of people don't like it, it's not going away. It's moving forward. There's a lot of companies that got a lot of money invested in this technology, and they're pushing it, and they're pushing it forward. You got to remember, we're not the only country in the world here, the United States. We don't dictate what goes on everywhere. There's other countries that are making this stuff. Foreign countries that are embracing this battery stuff and making it. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, I don't have a dog in this fight. I see pros and cons for, both products, and I'm going to give you some scenarios here. Okay? The first one is, I have a lot of elderly people that come in here. And I see this a lot with chainsaws. I saw it twice this week. One gentleman came in, he says, it's hard to pull my saw. There's something wrong with it. I can't pull it. It's hard. So I go, okay, let me see the saw. And I pulled it a couple times. It started right up. I said, sir, there's nothing wrong with this saw. You don't have the strength to pull it. You may want to consider getting a battery-powered one if you want to continue to cut wood, because it'll, start as long as the battery's charged. Of course, he didn't like that. He kind of got offended at that, but hey, it is what it is. If you can't pull it, you're either going to have somebody start it for you, or you're going to have to do the other option, maybe get a battery-powered one. I don't want him getting mad at me. I'm just making a suggestion. I had another gentleman, elderly gentleman, came in, and he poured the bar and chain oil in the gas tank and the 2-cycle mix in the oil tank. And he was all in a panic and all in a hurry because he had some tree down. So I had to stop what I was doing and fix his chainsaw and get it back to him. And again, I suggested to him that you might want to consider buying a battery-powered one. And I see this a lot too with the walk-behind push mowers. These people can't pull them. These elderly people, they can't pull it hard enough to start it. And I'm like, again, you might want to consider getting a battery-powered one. Your lawn isn't that big. It'll probably be able to cut your grass 2 or 3 times on a battery charge. You might want to consider getting one of them. Then there's also this concern over the battery starting on fire, like this is a big thing. I don't know about you, but when I turn the news on in the morning and I'm watching the traffic, there's usually a semi or some car on fire that they're always zooming in on, and they're gas-powered cars. And look at the gas prices. Look at how high the gas prices are. So what do you want to do? Do you want to pay high gas prices? Do you want battery stuff? You know, what are you going to do? It's hard to say. I was just in Jamaica. $2.21 a liter. That's what the gasoline was over there. So figure that out. That's about what? $10 a gallon for gas over there? So this is a whole like wild, wild west kind of thing. This is a whole new era that we're passing into. Just think back over 100 years ago when cars started coming on the scene and people were still riding around in horse and buggies. You don't think they were saying things about them automobiles? Hey, look at that stupid automobile, it's getting stuck in the mud. My horse don't get stuck in the mud. Because there were no roads. Big cities back in 100 years ago that had streets. The streets were where everybody used to congregate. Push carts, you know, people riding horses and stuff in these paved streets in big cities. Now these cars are coming along. There's no roads. There's no road signs. There's no pedestrian crossings and stuff. The streets are full of people. They're using the streets to walk and everything. Now these cars are coming along running everybody over. Check it out. Check your history and see. You'll see that in big cities they had the same problem. That's where the term jaywalking came up. Now getting back to the Wisconsin legislation, there may arise a problem in the future where, of course, you have the opportunity to buy gas-powered equipment, but because some companies, which have already started, Makita is one of them, where they quit making gas-powered handheld equipment. Makita stopped. There's no more gas-powered handheld, leaf blowers, chainsaws, weed eaters. Now they do have a stockpile from before they quit, and once that stockpile is diminished, no more gas-powered weed eaters, chainsaws, or leaf blowers from Makita. And from my experience in this business for over 40 years, when they start to do something, it's not long before other companies start following suit. And then they quit making that stuff. And I already heard through the grapevine, now I don't know if this is true or not, but I already heard that like Poulin and Ryobi will be next because they're having a hard time getting shops like us, service centers, to bring that stuff to get repaired. I know we don't repair any of that stuff. We call it disposable. It costs too much with our labor rate and stuff. Now, if it's a warranty situation or if you're fixing it under warranty, yeah, the company's paying you. But a lot of shops won't work on that cheaper disposable stuff. Now, getting back to California, on their ban, they also want to ban gas-powered equipment for emergency responders, like fire departments and stuff, and generators. So, what if you have a generator and the power goes off and it's outlawed? You can't run the generator. What are you going to do for power? You're going to sit in the dark because that battery ain't going to keep you powered for long enough if it's out for a lot of days. So, again, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on here in the future, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Let me see what else there is that I might cover here. Oh yeah, these batteries, when they do catch fire, they basically explode. And they're very hard to put out once they catch fire. So now you're going to have Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards going to be stocking all this battery stuff. I wouldn't be surprised in the future if all of a sudden you hear about them stores burning down because they got all this battery stuff stored in there. So there's some dinner here for y'all to chew on. And this dinner isn't very tasty. It's a kind of a spoiled, rotted dinner. There again, pros and cons to all this stuff. And then I have people that always ask me, hey Taryl, you're going to go out of business when all this battery stuff goes into effect. How are you going to make any money? You're looking at the shirt I'm wearing? Knuckleheads operating power equipment. That's right, knuckleheads operate. Doesn't matter if it's gas powered or battery powered. They're going to hit stumps and rocks and roots, and they're going to be leaving it outside, and it's going to be getting rained on, and all these other things are going to happen. You think people are going to change their habits just because it's a gas powered or battery powered? Nah, I'll be in business for that. It ain't going to affect me either way. Plus, I'm 62 years old. I'm going to be retiring pretty soon. 65, I plan on retiring. You know what I'm going to be doing? Yeah, that's right. Probably driving around in a battery-powered car because that'll be the only thing I'll be able to drive around in. I don't have a choice. What are you going to do? So don't fight it. Try to embrace it. I understand a lot of people don't like change. Oh well, it's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. So go in the comment section. Let's start a discussion. Let's start thinking about this. Let's see. I want to hear your thoughts and everything on it. And as always, there's your dinner. Woo! Battery against gas. Pros and cons. Yeah. What's going to happen? We don't know. We'll find out. Only time will tell. Woo-hoo! And there's your dinner. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like this video. I'm Pterodactyl.